In task 65.1, you got to read in detail about the structure of chromosomes and the way they are packaged inside the nucleus and why that is important. This video will just help you consolidate your understanding by just reviewing some facts and rechecking if you have any misunderstanding from the reading so that it gets clarified. So the first thing that we discuss in this video is what are chromosomes. We call chromosomes as string-like structures which are located inside the nucleus of plants and animals. And the word chromosome is actually a Greek word taken from the word chromo, means color, and soma means body. Scientists in earlier times observed that chromosomes took up different types of colorful stains that were applied to cells, and hence they named it that way. In different species of plants and animals, the number of chromosomes is fixed and it is unique for every species. For example, in humans, there are 23 pairs of chromosome in every cell of your body except your gamete cells or sex cells, which have half the number of chromosome. Similarly, in elephants, all the somatic cells contain 28 pairs of chromosome. Cats have 19 pairs. In case of plants, again, for example, in case of carrots, there are 9 pairs of chromosome and so on. So this number is unique for different species of plants and animals. Next is what are chromosomes made up of. This is the main objective that we are exploring while reading about chromosome. That is, the chromosomes are actually nothing but tightly coiled DNA molecules. The DNA molecules are as long as could be from 2 centimeter to up to 6 meters or even more. So how does such a long DNA package itself in such a small space of nucleus? As we already read, the diameter of the nucleus is only 6 micrometer. So to pack such large amount of DNA, you just read that there are 23 chromosomes. That means each chromosome has a DNA molecule in it, and 23 pairs, that is 46 chromosomes, are packed into 6 micrometer nucleus in this manner by coiling and supercoiling. So we say that the chromosomes are actually nothing but DNA molecules and histone proteins. So these bead-like structures are made up of histone proteins around which the DNA has wrapped 2.5 times or 2 1/4 time. And when they wrap around these histone proteins, they form bead-like structures called nucleosomes. And when these bead-like structures wrap around themselves, they form even tighter coiled structures called chromatin. So we say that a DNA is composed of a chromosome is composed of double helix DNA, chromatin, and actually these DNA are wrapped around histone proteins. Again, taking a closer look at the components of a chromosome, that is DNA molecules wrapped around histone proteins and then further coiled and supercoiled to form thick condensed structure called chromosomes in this manner. Now looking at the importance of packaging DNA into chromosome. To understand why packaging of DNA is important, let's watch this animation.
In this animation, we'll see the remarkable way our DNA is tightly packed up so that 6 feet of this long molecule fits into the microscopic nucleus of every cell. The process starts when DNA is wrapped around special protein molecules called histones. The combined loop of DNA and protein is called a nucleosome. The nucleosomes are packaged into a thread known as chromatin. This fiber is then looped and further packaged using other proteins which are not shown here. The end result is that the DNA is tightly packed into the familiar structures we can see through a microscope: chromosomes. Chromosomes are not always present. They form around the time cells divide when the two copies of the cell's DNA need to be separated. At other times, as we can see now after the cell has divided, our DNA is less highly organized. It is still wrapped up around the histones, but not coiled into chromosomes.
So you noticed in the animation where the narrator was actually showing a live cell division process happening, and just before the cell was about to divide, the DNA organizes itself to the highly specific chromosome form, that is the most compact form, and that is where we get our answer to what is the importance of packaging these DNA into chromosomes. First and foremost, chromosome is the most compact and condensed form of DNA that can fit into the cell. More precisely, we will say that so that it can fit into the nucleus of the cell. The second reason is packaging the DNA into such tightly coiled compact forms like chromosome protects the DNA from damage that may be caused by other enzymes that are present in the nucleus. DNA in a chromosome form can be efficiently passed into daughter cells during cell division. So in the animation, you just noticed how during cell division, the chromosomes get divided into two halves equally so that they can go into each daughter cell. So this division of the chromosomes can be uniform and equal if they are tightly condensed and packed. If they are loose and thread-like, there's a chance that they will get entangled and tear. So to efficiently pass equal number of DNA molecules into each daughter cell, packaging of the DNA into chromosome is very important. Finally, we say that packaging the DNA into chromosome form actually helps in regulation of gene expressions. Let us understand what this point actually means. So in a cell, our DNA molecules are found in the nucleus, which are extremely long. So they are coiled around histone proteins to form nucleosomes, and then many nucleosomes look like beads on a string, and they form the loose chromosomal structure, that is a chromatin. Then these chromatins supercoil around each other to form chromatin fibers or even thicker structures like chromosome. Now, we want to understand how forming a chromosome is regulating gene expression. So what is gene expression? When I say gene expression, it means our DNA contains certain specific regions like this one over here, which is called the gene. And there are other regions in the DNA which don't have any specific information. They're just fillers. So those parts of the DNA which contain gene are actually the parts which have specific codes that carry information which can be converted into an RNA, and then that RNA can be converted into a protein. So by this process, a cell actually makes protein by decoding the codes inside the genes of a DNA. Now, if the DNA is loose and open, then there is high chance that different proteins and enzymes in the nucleus will try to help DNA get decoded and try to produce different proteins. But every time your cells don't need those proteins. Therefore, only parts of the DNA which needs to be decoded remain loosely wound around the nucleosome, and the rest of the parts of the DNA which contain important regions or does not contain any gene, they are tightly wrapped. So these two type of coiling within the same chromosome of yours can be given two different names, that is euchromatin and heterochromatin. So euchromatin is the loosely wound regions of your chromosome, and heterochromatin is a tightly wound and tightly packed compact region of your chromosome. When DNA is supercoiled and not accessible for transcription. Transcription is a process by which your genes are read by different enzymes and they're converted into RNA, and then the RNA will be converted into protein later. You will study about transcription in Unit 6 in more detail. For now, just remember that the supercoiled and not accessible parts of the DNA in the chromosome are called the heterochromatin parts or the heterochromatin region, whereas the loosely packed DNA regions of your chromosome are called the euchromatin region. These are the regions where different enzymes can access the gene and read the codes and make mRNAs and proteins from there. Different types of cells will have varying amount of DNA packaged in heterochromatin form and varying amount of euchromatin regions. Some segments of the DNA may be in heterochromatin form throughout your life, whereas there may be some segments in your chromosome which are always loosely wound because they always need to be actively producing some proteins. Let's now look at briefly review the structure of one chromosome. So one chromosome is said to be made up of two identical chromatids, and each chromatid is an identical copy of the DNA molecule of each other. So you see chromosome in this condition just when it is about to divide. But when the cell is newly formed, the chromosome will have only a single chromatid. Okay. The short arm of the chromosomes are called the P arm and the long arms are called the Q arm. The region where both the chromatids join are called the centromere, and the whole chromosome is nothing but tightly wrapped DNA around histone proteins into chromatins, and then chromatins wrapping and supercoiling on themselves to form this thick structure of chromosome. The ends of each arm is called the telomere, and we will soon learn about them a little more. So here is some key information about chromatids. At metaphase, that is, this is the second stage entering into the mitosis. When you study about mitosis, you will know that just the mitosis has 4 different phases, and at metaphase, the chromosomes appear like this, like the shape of X. And this is the most tightly packed stage of our chromosomes. At this stage, our chromosome consists of 2 identical structures called chromatids, and each chromatid is a DNA copy of the other. So they are exactly same, but they're still attached at a point called centromere. So that means at metaphase, our chromosomes contain 2 DNA molecules at a time, but attached at one point, and therefore they will be considered as one chromosome. S phase is that phase where our DNA gets duplicated. So just before entering mitosis or cell division, our DNA actually divides into 2, but remains attached at the centromere. So that's why it looks like this. A single chromosome looks like this. Let's quickly check our understanding. From our previous discussion in module 64, we saw that a cell divides, but before dividing, it goes through a preparatory phase. And the whole cycle in which cell division happens is called the cell cycle. Here you can see that before the cell goes into M or mitosis, it has to go through the first growth phase or gap 1, go through S phase. This is a phase where the DNA doubles or duplicates. Go through the second growth phase or gap 2, where the cell finally prepares itself, grows proteins and organelles, and readies to enter into mitosis. Now this is what happens to the chromosome in the S phase, when the cell is still getting ready to divide. The chromosome contains 1 DNA molecule, but after S phase, it duplicates to form 2 DNA molecules, but the DNA molecules are not loosely wound. They are tightly wrapped to form thick arm-like structures called chromatids. And at mitosis, these chromatids look the most thickest and most distinct under your microscope. Then during mitosis, these sister chromatids will separate. Once they separate, again they become part of 2 different daughter cells. And the cycle will continue for the next daughter cell's cell cycle. So each chromatid actually contains 1 DNA molecule. As long as they are connected to each other at the centromere, they are considered as 1 chromosome. But after mitosis, they become 2 different chromosomes. Quick question, if one chromatid is made up of 1 DNA molecule, how many DNA molecules are there in a chromosome before S phase and after S phase? Pause, think, and if required, write down the answer. Thank you for pausing. Let's look at the answer. So we know that at S phase our DNA duplicates into 2. So before S phase our chromosome contains only one DNA. After S phase our chromosome will contain 2 chromatids. Each chromatid is one DNA molecule because of duplication. So the answer is before S phase 1 DNA molecule, after S phase 2 DNA molecules. Quick look at what are centromeres. These are narrow constricted regions. In the centromere region, the DNA molecules do not have any genes. They are non-coding regions. And this is the part where the two sister chromatids are held onto each other until mitosis has ended. Okay. Now the centromere can be at different positions in a duplicated chromosome, that is in a chromosome after S phase. Based on the position of the centromere, you can name the chromosomes differently, classify them as metacentric, submetacentric, acrocentric or telocentric. Here the example of human chromosomes have been given. In case of human beings, we have 23 pairs or 46 chromosomes. This is only in case of humans, not for other animals or plants. But in all animals, you will find telocentric, acrocentric, metacentric, submetacentric type of chromosomes in their cells. You can pause the video and quickly take a reading about what each type of chromosome mean. Alright, let's move on. So this is a diagram which is called a karyogram. A karyogram is actually the method by which different cell biologists actually characterize and pair up each chromosome with its other pair and lays out the chromosome of that species to understand how many chromosomes that particular species have and whether it is a male or a female. So in case of this example, you're looking at a human karyogram. Human beings have 23 pairs of chromosome. Out of these 23 pairs, 22 pairs are called autosomes and 2 chromosomes are called sex chromosomes. These 2 chromosomes can be X and X or X and Y. If a person has 2 X's, then the sex of that person is female. And if a person has an X and a Y sex chromosome, then the person is a male. So this is a picture of the karyotype, or this picture is called a karyotype, where you line up all the chromosome with their pairs. Each chromosome is in a pair because we inherit one set of chromosome from a father and one from the mother when their gametes fuse to form the zygote. Okay, so that's why you have a pair of every chromosome, and that's why our somatic cells are diploid. Last, I want to discuss about another structure which is important in a chromosome, that is the tips of the chromosome or the endings. These are the telomeres. Telo means tail, mere means the body. So the tail ending of the chromosome has repetitive nucleotide sequence. When you study in Unit 6 about DNA structure, you will know that DNA is made up of monomers called nucleotides. And these nucleotides are actually the ones which are shown in the diagram in the DNA, that is guanine, adenine, thymine, and cytosine. So in the telomere region, you will find repeat sequences like GGG, ATT. And this GGG, ATT is repeated again and again and again to a long tail ending. This repetitive sequence actually does not make any sense or does not have any code. It is just there to wrap around the ends of the chromosome and protect the ends of the chromosome. They protect the end of the chromosome because chromosomes are very sticky in nature and they can stick with other chromosomes and get damaged. If they stick with other chromosomes, then they cannot be read. The codes in the chromosomes cannot be read easily during protein synthesis. So to protect the chromosome, the telomeres are found at the ends. You will also study little more detail about chromosome in the next, about telomere in the next task soon, where you will know how they are very important at every cell cycle and how they play an important role in aging. So that's the next task. Let's move on to understanding more about the importance of telomeres. Thank you.